screws loose, they done stripped the bolts on them. Shoulda never sent them to pick up the work for them. Sprayed the park and had my shit inside the car. Marcus Smart Boy was shooting with a 36 on him. Said if he wasn't in the rush, it was all gone.
Greetings, Chudlings. We're coming to you live following a Celtics loss to the Charlotte Hornets, 121-18. It's just a little bit before 10 p.m. here on the East Coast, Monday, November 20th. I am your host, Doug Outs, as always, and with me is Chuddy, King Chuddy. How you doing tonight?
Doing all right. Some pretty gross basketball we just watched, but all things considered, could be worse, I guess. You?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely about the same. Definitely some pretty gross basketball there. To say it one more time, in an overtime loss, the Celtics lose 121-118. Tatum puts up 45 points, 13 rebounds. He usually plays well against Charlotte, but it's all for nothing. LaMelo Ball went off 36 points. I won't steal too much of your thunder. That's just kind of the quick recap. Go ahead and let us know what you saw in this loss. We both agree it was some pretty gross basketball. So what did you see?
Yeah, I just saw a lack of discipline, a lack of focus, a lack of execution. A lot of the same things we talked about last night in Memphis were the same here, where the Celtics came out and just very slow start. I thought they were playing really poorly. It was kind of masked by Pritchard hitting 4 threes in the first quarter, made the score look a lot differently. I think we were only up 6 at the end of the first. It felt like we should have been probably down about 6, but he had a late flurry, and then Tatum basically just went nuclear in the second quarter. Other than that, there really wasn't much going on. It didn't seem like anyone else was really playing well. Again, the offensive execution was just meager. It was like they didn't know what they wanted to do. And again, it was just Tatum and to a lesser extent Pritchard kind of bailing them out. The defense, equally gruesome. I mean, for basically the entire game, LaMelo Ball was just getting anywhere he wanted, just knifing through the defense, cutting in and out, setting guys up for dunks, setting guys up for threes. Hayward had really good games. Mark Williams, who's a really good young player, was kind of dominating us on the glass, but it's kind of the same story whenever things don't go well. Gave up 17 offensive rebounds, lost the rebounding battle by 9. Only 19 assists, had 13 turnovers. Frankly, it felt like a lot more. The Hornets got 60 points in the paint, 20 second chance points, 24 fast break points, 15 points off turnovers. Basically all the things you can't do against the Hornets, the Celtics did. And I mean, they gave this game away. They could have pulled it out at the end, but they did not deserve to win this game. They did not play well enough to win. I know Tatum, you said, had 45 points and was great, but I mean, again, they blew an 18-point first half lead. They blew a 9-point lead in the last 2 minutes, and it was just horrible execution, plays that just left you shaking your head left and right. I mean, there's really too many plays to kind of dig into them all. We can get into what happened down in crunch time, but I mean the game was really lost when they didn't. So many chances for a dagger shot in that second quarter, just couldn't quite put the nail in the coffin. Letting them hang around, they would keep getting it back to 8, back to 10, and then they got it close from there, and the whole thing was kind of close. It seemed like the Celtics had finally pulled away with 6 minutes left. Hauser hit a 3 to put them up by 11. With I think 5.5 minutes left, felt like it was over. And again, I mean the Celtics I think just got complacent and they just didn't get good shots. Didn't execute on offense. Didn't get good shots. I've probably already said the word execution 10 times, but that's just what it was. Again, you're just so much better than this team. I know we're on a back-to-back. I know there's no Horford, no White, but there's no excuses. You should still easily be able to beat this team. The fact that they couldn't have one guy all night who could stop LaMelo from, again, just getting anywhere he wanted. It was like nobody could stay in front of him.
Tonight.
Yeah, he had a great game at all 3 levels on offense. He was shooting, he was passing, he was dribbling through everyone. And I mean, like I said, at
one point he almost put Holiday on his ass. He had one play. Yeah. So
it was. I mean, it's just gruesome. Like I said, it's hard to be seemingly be so negative when Tatum puts up 45 and 13, and he obviously had his moments where he just absolutely had it going, but down the stretch, just baffling stuff. And I mean, again, the Celtics 16 of 50 on threes, 43% only from the field, and 64% from the free throw line. Missed 10 free throws, which
that's bad.
Obviously proved to be costly. So I mean, again, we said kind of last night we played with fire, lost the game in all the meaningful categories, somehow pulled out with a win. You'd think that would have been a little bit of a lesson, a little bit of a wake-up call, but it really just a continuation tonight. Same bad habits that we've seen throughout the night. And I mean, again, just it seemed like the Hornets wanted it more. They were playing at a faster pace. They were just more aggressive, had more energy. And I mean, that's again how they won the game with all those stats I kind of just mentioned, where they're winning on all the margins. And even when you're the much more talented team like we are, if you lose all of those things, you got to play, near perfect in the other categories of the game to win. And the Celtics just didn't do it. Having said all that, still had multiple opportunities to win this game at the end of regulation, at the end of overtime, obviously throughout the game where they should have put them away. But I mean, as far as in the NBA, you'll pull all your hair out if you react so badly.
That's messed up.
Well, I was already going with the metaphor, and then I kind of realized that you pull your beard hair out. But
yeah, I mean, this was about 2 or 3 years ago. I had a full head of hair. This is just what this team has done to me.
Yeah, and I try not to overreact too high or too low to any single regular season game. Obviously, in the grand scheme of things, it's one game. I don't think this dramatically changes anything, but it's still just super disappointing, and something it seemed like we had cleaned up a lot of this stuff, and crunch time offense, execution, all those things had been relative strengths for the team so far this year, and this just seemed like as bad of a loss as they've had over the past 4 or 5 years. Like, this is right up there with any of the awful blown losses they've had, and against a terrible team. Just no excuse.
Yeah, I think that's really what it comes down to for me. It's like you said, you don't want to overreact too much. It is second night of a back-to-back. We don't have White, we don't have Horford, but I just feel like it was the way that, again, we use that word again, the way they executed. It just kind of gives you these almost like traumatic PTSD sort of like memories of just a couple seasons past, where that's what kind of the MO would become down the stretch, and you would just sort of feel a game slipping away, and it just like you knew there was nothing you could do to stop it. And that's kind of what happened in this game. I mean, again, they were up by 9 points with 2 minutes left. So even despite all that stuff, all those stats you threw out, which I think the big one is fast break points. That was one of your keys to the game, was to kind of force them to play a half-court offense. They're not as good when they play a half-court offense.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the way LaMelo was playing tonight, they still might have been able to succeed in the half-court, but we didn't really force that on them at all. They controlled the pace the whole entire game. And the LaMelo Ball is just, that was incredible. I mean, I knew that he had he's becoming a pretty good player in the league, but I didn't realize that. I don't know if this was just a crazy 3-point shooting night for him, or if that's his normal skill set, but he was just playing incredibly. He was shooting incredibly. He had even that layup towards the end of the game that could have easily been an and one. That wasn't called for that. I think just the way that he adjusted and was able to make make that shot. You could say he might have pushed a little bit, like using his arm a little bit on Jaylen, but they're not going to call that either way. No. But yeah, 24-9 on the fast break points. Like you said, that's terrible. We got out rebounded big time, 57-48. The free throws are driving me nuts. Missing 10 free throws is just totally inexcusable. And obviously I don't want to put it all on that, but Tatum missing the last of those 3. I get it. It's hard to make 3 in a row, but it just is kind of indicative of the whole problem. I mean, you miss 10 free throws in a game that you lose in overtime like this to a much inferior team, and it's kind of hard not to point that out. I think also, I mean, you have to talk about Jaylen Brown's night. I mean, he had 2 points in the second, third, and fourth quarter all throughout. He had scored 10 points in the first quarter. He had 12 points at the end of regulation, and I think he ended up scoring like one. I think he had like a free throw or something in overtime.
He had the first bucket of OT, but yeah.
So
and then he had a free throw.
Okay, so he didn't score. So he finished with 13 points of the night, 5 for 17 in field goal shooting. I mean, it was just a pretty gruesome night for him. Hauser didn't have a great night. He 1 for 9 either. He had 3 points, but I don't think the expectations are as high for him. I think Porzingis finishes with what looks like a pretty good stat line, 17 and 8. But I thought for most of the game too, I don't think that he had a very good game. It just totally looked like a team that just kind of was coming in exactly like how we did last night. And I would have hoped, with the way we were barely able to escape with the hair on our chins, that they would have showed up better. But I just think that it was just a pretty tough night for Brown. Sometimes I just feel like it's hard for him to, when he's playing poorly, it's like, it's either he's going to have a good night or he's going to have a bad night. At least shooting wise. I know he does a lot of other things well, but it just was a really tough night. And like you said, to waste the 45, and even with Tatum, he scored 45 points. You don't want to jump on him, but 31 of those were in the first half, so that's 14 in the entire second half. It just seemed, it was just one of those very frustrating games where you could just feel it slipping away, and you just knew what was going to happen next. And and that's something that I don't think I felt this year with the team. So definitely frustrating. Again, you can point out all the excuses, but even on night 2 of back-to-back, I'm sorry, the Charlotte Hornets, I'm sorry. They should not I don't know. It just shouldn't come down to the way it did now. So it's a pretty
Yeah.
frustrating game overall. And not a whole lot of good to take out of it, except for, Tatum does still own Charlotte, but tonight they end up owning us, at least on the final score. So
Yeah.
very frustrating game.
And I mean, we talked about LaMelo, and he's kind of the obvious one because it's so easy to watch the game and just like see what he's doing nonstop. You could tell. I mean, he looked like he's playing at another speed from everyone else on the court out there.
Yeah.
But also, props to Mark Williams out of Duke. That dude is a beast down low, and he absolutely dominated Porzingis and whoever was in there. He had 18 points, 16 rebounds, 8 offensive rebounds, 3 blocks. He was plus 33 in the minutes he was in, which, I mean, is just crazy. But I mean, and again, it checks out. Porzingis, like you said, the stats were all right, but he's getting dominated. You can't, in a game with no Al Horford, you can't have 5 defensive rebounds all game for Porzingis when Mark Williams has
he gets
8
his
offensive
hands
rebounds.
on everything.
Like,
he just doesn't come down with them. It's crazy.
yeah. And I mean, again, Porzingis minus 26 on the night in the minutes you were in. I mean, I know
Jesus
no one,
Christ.
all of the starters other than Tatum. It was really the only, when we played well, was with basically the bench guys and Tatum out there, which has been a great lineup. But I mean, that in the second quarter. And again, Pritchard had it going. By far, Pritchard's best game of the year, I thought, overall, beyond just the shooting. I thought he was really good. And I mean, they put him in crunch time, and I thought he had earned that. He didn't play.
Well, they also had that. They also had the Pritchard, Hauser, Brissett, Svi, and Cornette lineup, which actually was fine. Oddly enough, didn't even play that bad. Yeah, they played well.
Cornette was plus 25 in 18 minutes tonight.
Who was it?
Cornette was plus 25 in 18 minutes tonight.
I mean,
so it was that bench lineup in Tatum that really got us that lead, and then it was the starters that lost it. All of the starters, I said, Porzingis minus 26, Brown minus 23, Hauser minus 22.
I love it. It was a bad game, so we're going to point out the plus minuses.
Well, when you do it in a group,
as a team, yeah.
When it's those guys, because it's Tatum and Holiday are the ones who go out first. So it's those other 3 starters and the 2 bench guys, and that was where they played terrible. Then Tatum and Drew came back in with those bench guys, and that's where the Celtics played well, got up 18, seemed like they had it all going, and it was the other guys with the bench. Again, I mean, this is a common theme. When Tatum sits, we should have enough talent to be able to hold the rope, and just absolutely did not a good Brown game. He had some weird foul trouble. I know he picked up his 5th with 6 minutes left in the third quarter, so I know it's hard to get in a rhythm when you're not playing like your usual minutes, and I think that was part of the weird lineup that you alluded to with the 5
Very
bench
strange
guys. But I think also part of that, because, we didn't mention it, but Joe did the same thing last night when he was kind of down on the offense. He did something he rarely does. He pulled both Jays and went without a J for, I think, 7 straight minutes in the third quarter last night, partially kind of to send a message. And it was the same thing tonight. Again, who knows if it was just because Jaylen was in foul trouble, but long stretches with neither J on the court. And it seems like Joe it's a long season, so if the team already needs this much motivating, like 12 games in, and I get it, it's tough. This team, when you're championship or bust, it's hard to get up for, Monday night games in Charlotte right before Thanksgiving. Like, I get it, but still, you can't just go through the motions and expect.
But they haven't earned that. It's like if you're going,
No,
I feel like this is something
agree.
that happened last year too, where there was such a focus on, we're just like, once we get to that point, then turn it on. But it's like you still have to get to that point. And again, this game isn't going to stop them from getting there. But sometimes they come in and they just lollygag. And it's how we got down 3-0 in the Heat last year. I feel like it was just like there was too much of just like expecting this, like coordination. No. Again, I'm probably I'm just a little upset. I'm probably making a little too much out of it.
No, totally. And that's the thing. Like I said, 1 loss, not a big deal. But it's the process. It's the execution. And it's again, the regular season, as much as anything, is for building good habits, building chemistry, playing the right way.
Yeah.
So again, I can live with certain kinds of mistakes, but games like tonight is just the complete opposite of what you want to see. I'd rather them play well and just miss all the shots, and Tatum scores 15 points and goes, 6 for 25, and it's on
good shots and good execution.
Right, bad night, well, it happens. Whereas tonight, it was the opposite. We had arguably Tatum's best game of the year, definitely Pritchard's best game of the year, and it wasn't enough to beat one of the shittiest teams in the league. And I mean, the icing on the cake is the biggest fuckface in the league, Miles Bridges, hitting that fucking miracle shot to win the game.
Shouldn't even be allowed in an NBA arena.
Yeah. And I mean, again, whatever. We forced it out of LaMelo's hands. He's not a good shooter. He threw up a prayer, it went in. But again, that's indicative of the way the night went. They deserved that break, not Bridges personally, but the way the teams played on the court, the Hornets deserved to have that fall, and we deserved to have it go against us. That was just the way the game had gone.
Well, as soon as it left his hands, I just knew it's I knew that ball wasn't not going in.
I mean, the Celtics again just overmatched. Second night in a row, they got outworked, out hustled, out efforted. I mean, all those kind of dumb cliches, and it's again, we said all the excuses. The last leg of a road trip. They got I'm sure they're looking ahead to Wednesday night, big matchup against the Bucks. Everyone's had that one circled.
I feel like that stuff would be, you could say that more if they took care of business last night. I mean, and they won, but like if they blew out the Grizzlies last night,
you shouldn't have another letdown.
But yeah, it's like, they had their fuck up game last night, so to come out tonight and kind of do most of the same kind of stuff. Losses. Yeah,
it should have been back-to-back losses. It really should have. And I mean, whatever. At the end of the day,
really bad.
Yeah, it absolutely would have. And like I said, the excuses are there, but at a certain point, it's just disappointing with this many good players, this many veteran players, this many star players, and this many professionals that just drop the rope like that in a game that was so there for the taking, so winnable. And like I said, to go through all the sloppiness and kind of malaise of the whole game, and then we pushed the lead up with 5 minutes left to 11, up 9 with 2 minutes left, and it's like, okay, this is fine to have kind of an off night where you're not fully efforting, but then you pick it up, you execute down the stretch. If you can get away with that stuff, fine. But this was like the opposite.
It got worse.
Exactly. And I mean, the last 2 minutes were just an absolute disaster on both ends. And the overtime, not much better. Again, like this, to not attack LaMelo more, like, again, that's the thing, is just be smart on offense. Like, so many of these plays, like, what are we doing? Just throwing up the most random prayer shots, no passing.
And those are the shots you can get anytime, no matter what.
They're always there, and we're taking them early. Possessions with zero passing. We're just dribbling to nowhere, shooting, deep shots off no motion, off no movement. And again, they have, as I said, they're literally the worst defense in the league. Mm-hmm. LaMelo Ball is not a good defender. Almost, a lot of the guys they have out there are not good defenders, and we're just letting them off the hook, not attacking them at all, not making them work. I mean, at least go at LaMelo, tire him out, get him in foul trouble, make him move his feet. Like,
yeah, especially the way he was playing, you'd think that would be the adjustment. It's like, we gotta do something to tire this motherfucker out. So
and they just played right into their hands. Again, we let them play basically the only way that the Hornets can beat us, like, for a game to play out
played right into their hands.
Is exactly how we let it play out. And it's just super frustrating again. And I mean, it goes to show this team is far from a finished product and far from perfect. And we might have, all the best net rating and the best record and all these great players and this and that. Yeah. But if you can't execute and you can't figure it out and you can't, trust yourselves to close out a game like that against a shitty team like that, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's an issue.
It's a huge issue.
Yeah, to say the least. Yeah. I just another quick aside about the Hornets. Ish Smith has played on 13 different teams. That was a stat they played.
And he's a Celtics killer.
Yeah.
Always.
Well, I do feel like
I think he's going to get buckets against us when he goes in there. He's exactly the kind of guy I'm always saying, those quick little bastard just rolling around. No one can stay with him. And I guess,
how does a guy end up on 13 teams, though? It's just
impressive.
Insane.
Yeah. I feel like at this point he has to at least get to 15 so he can play for half the teams.
Actually, this is a great segue because I forgot to mention at the beginning of the episode. But Ish Smith should use Nick Prano Real Estate, our sponsor, for the next time that he has to move to a new city. Nick Prano Real Estate, our sponsor. I did forget to mention that at the front of the game. I was just so goddamn mad that I couldn't even think straight.
Had to get right into it.
Yeah, just had to get right into it because it's just so repulsive. Just a brutal game.
Yeah. I mean, a little bit, if we could talk about just the actual end of game execution and plays. I mean, I again, just bizarre. So awful. One bad possession after another, just super frustrating. And then we get 10 seconds left, up by 2. To let LaMelo get between the defender and the basket with nobody under the rim. Basically let him walk in for an uncontested layup to tie the game. Couldn't have happened faster. Is just how you let that happen with that defensive personnel on the court. Coming out of a timeout is absolutely beyond me. That was pathetic. Then the Celtics have called timeout, which we want to see. The play out of a timeout, they throw it to Tatum in kind of the corner. And I mean, I don't know exactly what the play was, but he just held the ball for way too long. I know he was probably anticipating the quick double, figured he'd hit Hauser for the 3, which he eventually did. But by the time he did it, I mean, and good job by the Hornets. But as soon as the double doesn't come, he's got to spin baseline, force it at Hayward, either, go up for a contested short shot or try to draw a foul. But to just hold it there, and then he threw it to Sam, who, I mean, it's not Sam's fault. He had to force up that shot. By the time he caught it, there was like a half a second left. He just hoisted it up, obviously missed it. But to get that look out of a timeout, I mean, and that's just awful. And then in overtime, the possession is Jaylen Brown 5 jab steps and then chalk up a 3. He misses that. And then obviously the Miles Bridges 3 happens. Then Tatum, and again, couldn't have been more bailed out by Hayward fouling. I'm not saying it wasn't a foul, but we got completely lucky.
But it wasn't a good look either.
Well, I mean, yeah, at that point, you're going to take what you can get. But again, we're lucky to even have the chance to tie it at the free throw line. Obviously, Tatum misses the 3rd free throw. Then, I mean, I don't know what the hell happened with the clock. They were scowling. The guys were all over sketchy. It. That made no sense. And for them not to review that or look into it.
It was like they were insistent on not doing it. It was like the refs had a flight to catch or something like that.
It was weird, but it seemed like they lost 3 seconds, which, I mean, again, we still would have had to hit a 3 with 3 seconds left to tie the game. So, I mean, again, we deserve to lose. So, whatever. But still, very just shoddy officiating. But, I mean, again, just over and over again down the stretch of these games that we just were not getting good looks. Where is the 2-man game with Brown and Porzingis or Tatum and Porzingis? I don't know.
It feels like when we need that stuff, it's nowhere to be found. When it's just in the middle of the game and it's but then when you need it, it's just nowhere to be found. It's like everyone forgets what's worked. A
few bad turnovers by Drew, a few possessions where it seemed like Drew was just dribbling and isoing for 20 seconds and then either forcing a terrible shot or kind of passing it to someone at the last second where they didn't have a really chance. Even also got bailed out on that kind of Porzingis tip-in that it looked like the other guy might have touched, but that was
that was a weird,
awful possession that we got bailed out. So it was we were doing everything wrong and still hanging on there, but just gruesome. And I mean, I guess the one thing you can maybe take from this is that I've said it over and over again, and I think this even confirms it more, is that for our team and offense to be at the best, that ball needs to be in Derek White's hand. He's the guy who has to run this offense down the stretch. Obviously, he wasn't there tonight, and it certainly showed because that was just grim. And I mean, again, I don't know how much is coaching. Mazzulla seemed really pissed. He basically called the team out last night, almost Ime style, in his press conference, which you never see him do.
Yeah.
He was frustrated tonight, you could tell, but either way, not
frustrated enough to use a timeout during that run at the end of the game.
Yeah, well, he does love saving his timeouts.
There's no it's not like Social Security. You're not putting a timeout fund.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, hopefully, I guess this is the wake up call that this team needs, and they can say, hey, we're not. This is the NBA. If you don't take teams seriously, they're going to beat you. They, again, already played with fire against a few bad teams and were able to kind of dig their way out of it with talent. And tonight they were not. So I hope they are, kind of embarrassed about that result. And I'm sure Joe is letting them have it. And all they can do this.
And
I'm sure they'll come back and look great against the Bucks. But
yeah, and like you said, it's just all about the habits. This is, if you do the wrong thing so many times, eventually you're not going to be able to turn it on. So I think that's what happened to us last year. So much of these games that we lollygag into that by the time it came around to the playoffs, we got there and we dug ourselves into a hole. So it's just again, you can't get too swept up in one regular season game, night 2 of it back-to-back without 2 of your best players, or at least one of your best players in Derek White. I mean, Al's obviously a pretty big staple, but you know what I mean.
We talked about Tatum also missing that clutch free throw. Also, we were up 2 with 10 seconds left right before that LaMelo layup, and Drew, they fouled him. Chance to ice. He got bailed out by the foul.
He missed both.
And he missed both. I hated the possession. He dribbled the whole time. He got a bailout foul and still missed both free throws. Just absolutely awful. Again, just kind of a meaningless, it ended up meaning a lot, but in the at the moment, it's, it's not the reason we lost, but I do not understand how that challenge by Charlotte got overturned. It seemed like Hayward had all arm. He hit him on the elbow and the wrist and didn't get the ball. And I do not at all understand how that got overturned.
When that happened, I literally said, I was excuses. Well, there's no way this is getting overturned. And then when it did, I was stunned.
Yeah.
Appalled.
But I mean, that was kind of the start of the falling apart. And I think, they were annoyed at the refs. And again, it seemed like the refs kind of got in their head after that. They were clearly just down on themselves, and that led to a few shitty possessions, the bad execution. The Hornets, again, seem like they're just full of pep, and they're coming right down and scoring. Like I said, getting right to the basket. LaMelo getting into, not a shred of anyone stopping penetration. Nobody could stay in front of him the whole night. He's drawing help, and he's kicking it to guys for wide open dunks or, again, out for threes. You're just toying with the Celtics defense. You have the best defense in the league, and they just had absolutely no answers. And again, I don't think obviously Derek and Al are good defenders, but those aren't the guys who are going to be matched up on LaMelo. Like between
Right.
Drew and Jaylen.
Yeah, Drew didn't have a very good game
able to offer
defending
some
him. It was the
resistance.
first time that he's looked like, just not really himself.
Yeah, I mean, he had his moments, but not just overall very, very disappointing against the league's worst defense to play that poorly on offense.
Sprints at practice. Sprints at practice this week.
I think that's definitely fair.
Yeah, we're not at players only meeting level yet, but I do want they do something to get a little kick in their ass.
And I think as down as we are, I think it honestly is probably even worse than we were saying. I just thought the purpose, the execution, and what they were doing schematically, the whole game on offense made absolutely no sense against this defense. It felt very lazy, very kind of just like resting on your talent. And again, I think if not for Pritchard and Tatum just like shooting the lights out and kind of going nuclear, we could have lost this game by 20. Just got badly outplayed on both ends. Our superstar kind of kept us in it, honestly. And I mean, it sounds crazy to say in a game where you blew an 18-point lead and a 9-point lead with 2 minutes left, what have you. But again, if Tatum was just average tonight and Pritchard doesn't come up huge
misses
off
like
the bench,
2 of those, yeah,
we're probably talking about a 20-point loss where we just aren't in it at all.
And then we're at players only meeting territory.
Yeah, seriously. So I mean, again, don't want to vent about one regular season game for an hour, but
we've needed a good vent. We've been due for a good
well, like I
vent
said,
here.
Maybe the team needed this. I think they're getting maybe a little too high on themselves, so maybe it's good to be a little bit humbled. And like I said, maybe just a wake up call.
Yeah. I do want to just touch real quick on Derek White out for personal reasons. So obviously, hopefully everything's all right with Derek White. But did you see Mazzulla had a quote that I feel like just made it said nothing, but also gave me, it says, Joe Mazzulla on whether Derek White is expected to miss just one game for personal reasons. He said, quote, "I'm not sure it's for personal reasons. I think we'll reassess it just kind of day to day and just see where he's at." So it's like, I don't know. I read that quote. I was like, so that it makes it sound awful, but it also makes it sound like, well, he doesn't really seem like it'd be that bad. So I don't know. I feel like that's just one of those quotes that just kind of like just drives speculation going a little bit wild. So I don't want to speculate yet on that. I hope everything is all right with Derek White. I don't think he could have possibly gotten his wife pregnant already again, but
no. But I mean,
hopefully everything is all right though.
Exactly.
Personal reasons is always a little tricky. And
had a kid the other night, so with the
right.
newborn missing a game for personal reasons, obviously it could be scary. So, like you said, really just wishing him the best, and hope that it's essentially nothing, and he'll be back Wednesday night because it was pretty clear tonight how much we need him and how important he is to this team on both ends.
Yeah. And I'll just real quick before we get into the around the NBA, hand up. I made a promise that I was going to get back on track with the parlay. Jaylen Brown fucked me over. There's no other way to put it. I put it all on him. Drew Holiday had the block early. We got the block early. Obviously, Tatum went nuts there in the second quarter. But yeah, I mean, hand up and shout out to Himothy on Twitter. He absolutely nailed it. He was saying that Jaylen Brown was going to ruin the parlay. He's been hitting me up, taking a few victory laps. So yes, Jaylen Brown ruined the parlay. I probably won't have any Jaylen Brown points over plays in the near future. So we'll work on that. We're back on track Wednesday. I got one cooking up. It's going to be a can't miss. So stick with me, ride with me.
Yeah. And we talked about again 8 turnovers last night for Tatum. It's just disgusting being like the primary guy. 7 turnovers tonight for Holiday without White. I mean, that's just it's hard to win when your primary ball handlers are turning the ball over that much.
And turnovers is what fucked us the last 2 years. So
awful.
Got to take care of the ball.
Really bad.
All right, so should we pivot over to around the NBA? I know we were on a podcast yesterday, so it's probably a little light around the NBA. But go ahead and give us just any news you got from around the league.
Yeah, not too much going on around the league that we didn't already touch on. We hit on most of the stuff. Last night after we went off air, the Lakers pulled out a close crunch time win, hard fought over the Rockets. LeBron made a game-winning free throw at the end, put up big numbers again, and did his usual, like, keep doubting me, but
that guy reads too much social media. It's crazy.
He really does, but it is damn impressive, and there's just
Do you think he's on HGH?
He's on everything.
All right,
but it's impressive. I mean, at his age, to still clearly be when he's out there and giving it his all, he's one of the best players in the league. There's no other way to put it. So, have to just tip my cap.
It is fucking
kind of
crazy
at this
that
point.
he's still doing it at this age.
And it's just so funny. They're supposed to have built up this team that's able to win around him, keep him fresh for the playoffs, and it's like the opposite. Reeves has mostly been terrible. AD is completely unreliable. the other role players aren't coming through, and it's like LeBron basically has to carry them every night through the regular season, and he's just doing it. Like it's unbelievable. We've never seen anything like it in the NBA. Truly, that's not hyperbole. So again, good for LeBron as much as I hate to see it. Beyond that, former Celtic Matt Ryan, I don't know if you remember him, the sharpshooter. He was on a two-way for a while. Local kid, I believe, got a chance on the Celtics team. It's kind of been floating around. Just wanted to give him a shout-out. It seems like he's found a home on the Pelicans. He's been playing really well for them, getting big minutes, playing like real part of their rotation, playing some crunch time, shooting the lights out. He did suffer a calf strain, so he'll be out 2 weeks. But I wanted to give him a shout-out. It feels like he's found a real home, real part of that lineup.
Shout out Matt Ryan.
Absolutely. The real Matt Ryan.
Yes.
Another story that came out today, according to Shams, he said the Kings will be very active in at the trade deadline pursuing a star. So, hey, I mean, why not? Good for them. They had a fun season last year, made the playoffs as a 3 seed, great regular season. Obviously lost in the first round to the Warriors in 7. And I mean, this is kind of what happens here. It's all fun when there's no expectations. Now there are expectations, and suddenly it's like, all right, what do we do now? Good, fun team, like I said. So I'm not sure I believe in a Sabonis-led and center team in the playoffs. I love De'Aaron Fox. I love a lot of their role players. But, I mean, interesting. I hope it's true. And, I mean, I would respect it if they were going for it. Like, why not strike while the iron's hot? Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't know if their defense can withstand getting, like, a Zach LaVine. But if they could go for, like, a Siakam and Anunoby, you know, Towns, if the deal's right, we'll see. It would just be fun. I mean, I like to see small market teams who are frisky kind of go for it when they feel like they have a chance. The West has not been as good as a lot of people thought it would be, so it would be respectable. We always, we love these teams mixing it up in the trades, so that would be something fun. One other story, this is a weird one. It came out a while ago, but it got ramped up today. The Knicks suing the Raptors. Did you see that?
They're suing them?
Yeah, for seeking $10 million in damages. It's getting really weird. They're basically saying that a guy who worked for the Raptors...
This is a real... I didn't know they're allowed to sue teams. A team could sue a team.
It's never happened. It's an unprecedented move, yes. And they're basically saying that a guy who was working for the Raptors, he was working for the Knicks, but the Raptors had hired him, and he hadn't changed yet, and he was giving them IP, proprietary information, giving them scouting reports, basically all this secret info he was just giving to the Raptors from the Knicks. And they were saying it was going on for 3 years worth of stuff. So again, they're looking for over $10 million in damages, and now they're saying it should go to court. And that essentially. And they're saying that Silver shouldn't be able to arbitrate this because the guy who's being sued, the Raptors owner is Silver's boss, obviously. And he's I guess also one of the owners who Silver's is closest with, and it said is his mentor. So there's a weird conflict of interest. And the Knicks are basically stating that in the CBA, there's nothing that gives Silver the power to give out that large of a damage, and that this goes beyond an NBA violation. It's an actual legal violation of trade law. Ooh. So it's it's almost not even a real. It's not really a basketball story, but it's an interesting story.
The only owner would be the Knicks owner to do that. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to get banned from MSG.
Well, and that's basically what the Raptors said in their response to this was this is never. No one has ever even tried to do this before, and that's it. Mic drop.
Yeah. Hold on, I gotta.
Just outrageous was kind of the.
Oh, we got December. That can't be right. It says December 1st, and then the Raptors don't play again between the 1st and the 11th. That can't be right. They have 10 days off in December. I don't know. I'm looking at their schedule now. Yeah, see? I'll look at their schedule now. It says Knicks December 1st, and then Monday, December 11th, but there's no games in between there.
I wonder if that's when the in-season tournament finals will be, maybe? So there's a little break in the schedule because they're going to schedule those games on the fly once they see who's in the quarters and the semis. So that's got to be the part of the schedule that they are going to figure out.
Okay, well, either way, happens. Yeah. So we got those two teams. Yeah, because all right. So
I'm guessing.
Yeah. So the Knicks at the Raptors. So I think the real one to look for is when the Raptors go to New York on December 11th.
Yeah,
that's cool. So they're playing soon. They should just put the $10 million on the line in those games.
Yeah, but it's kind of funny. I don't think the players probably care at all. The players have no bad blood whatsoever and are probably what is happening?
No, the owners should definitely...
the
the
front
owner should
office should
definitely
play 5-on-5.
settle it on the court. I think that would be my suggestion for that. I think that, and then, whatever. Just if you need to get the
Whatever
players to be motivated,
happens.
and say, if you're not going to make the in-season tournament and play for $500K, guess what? We'll split the $10 million. If the if I'm James
That's
Dolan,
true.
we'll split the $10 million if we win that.
I could see Dolan doing that.
Now we're
Telling the
talking.
players.
That's something.
All right.
So yeah, well,
I'm
that's
in.
interesting. I've never heard of a team suing another team. So I guess no one's heard of it yet. So
Exactly. I literally don't think it's ever happened before. So really
Good for
interesting
them.
story to see how
This
it plays
league.
out. This league, indeed. That's pretty much it. The only other thing I had tonight, just Jokic ejected from the game early against the
Ooh.
Pistons. The Nuggets still won, but just stupid. Just argued a call and just reacted in a way that guys do all the time. And there go those refs again, throwing
did he
out
get
the best
two
player in the
technicals
league.
at once, or was it?
I'm not sure. I wasn't watching when it happened. If it was
We'll get the intern
one.
on that. Intern, find the clip.
Yeah, exactly.
Bring me a coffee.
Malone was ejected too. I'm reading it right now. It was late in the
spicy.
first quarter, so it was his second technical. So
Okay.
Malone was ejected in the first quarter. They both got a tech, and then Jokic got another tech with a minute 22 left in the half and got tossed. So
Nice.
refs,
Just what
please
the
just
league
chill out.
needs. Yeah.
Please just stop. But
Yeah.
that was it. The Nuggets still won. Got a bunch of games going on right now. The Bucks pulled away, beat the Wizards. Giannis had 42, 13, and 8. Of course, that is our next game, so probably a good segue unless you have anything else to talk about the...
I mean, it just sounds like the Bucks weren't sleepwalking into our matchup. So go ahead and give us.
They were tied with the lowly Wizards with a few minutes left.
Oh, it was against the Wizards? Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But
right.
yeah, Wednesday night, obviously in TD Garden, the game that, at least in the Eastern Conference, I think everyone's been waiting for, the new look Bucks, the new look Celtics, the two, class of the East. The Bucks got off to a little bit of a slow start, but they've been rolling lately. They've kind of figured it out. Lillard has absolutely changed that team's offense in crunch time, so they're definitely getting on the right track. The Celtics, I would have said, were on the right track maybe until these last two games. Hopefully just a blip on the radar. And again, tonight's game and podcast will be pretty quickly forgotten, I think, if we go out and do what we're supposed to do against the Bucks on Wednesday night. So fun game to look forward to. Those ones are always extra fun. Everyone, that's kind of that pseudo holiday the day before Thanksgiving. So Dugouts, you and I will have to try to not get too drunk so that we can come to you live. I'm sure we'll be probably the only podcast you'll be able to wake up and listen to Thanksgiving morning. No days off here on Chuddy's Corner.
That's right. And yeah, we'll try to work on that other thing too, for sure. I think, for that game, I guess one thought that I have, and you can give us a little, just a kind of quick thought on it. We talked about it a little bit when we were playing the Sixers, how, down the stretch, Al makes more sense being in there on Embiid. Do you think that there's going to be any type of tweaks to the lineup with Giannis? Like I don't think Porzingis is going to be able to cover him. So what do you?
No.
So what are you kind of
I think it'll
expecting
be
to
Drew.
see?
I think if we go with our usual starting lineup, I think it's going to be Holiday on Porzingis, at least out of the gate. I think that'll be. Although you need him on Dame too, it'll be very interesting. I'm fascinated.
Yeah.
I think it'll probably be White or Brown on Dame and Drew on Giannis to start. I think Porzingis will be on Lopez, and then I think as the game goes along, obviously Al will come in, and I think hopefully Joe will kind of play it as it goes. And if Al's doing a good job on Giannis, I think he probably gives him a longer leash, lets him stay in. Again, fascinating to watch, but again, these teams are likely on a collision course for the playoffs, so you don't, you want to leave some of your tricks up your sleeve still. You don't want to show too much, but you obviously also want to go out, get the win, and kind of exert a little bit of muscle, show some dominance. So just super excited to watch. There's a lot to watch on both ends, see how we approach it. Like I said, my gut is it'll probably be JB on Lillard and Drew on Giannis, at least to start. I don't think they'll mess up the starting lineup and put Al in. Again, I think that's more of a tweak you make in a playoff series. But Joe is an absolute.
Do you think
psycho,
we're gonna ever see like a lineup with Porzingis and Al out there at the same time? Is that
we have seen it in this regular season. We've seen it at times. It was slow at first, but it's had some good moments. Like I think double big is always going to be a part of what we do,
especially where they have the two bigs that they have.
Right.
But then it's who comes off, like one of the Jays or Drew or Derek White. Like, it's hard to take any one of those guys off. So
Exactly.
just something I was thinking about today, just thinking about that game. So
yeah, like I said, I think if big tweaks like that happen at this point, it's realistically going to be in a playoff series. I think at this point our lineup is pretty set for the regular season. And again, no reason to make some crazy adjustments for one regular season game. But
yeah,
definitely something I'll be closely monitoring. I will be super locked in on those matchups and how guys kind of are guarding each other on both sides and how that plays out and what works, what doesn't. Again, I mean, these are the kind of games that make it fun. I can't wait. I'm very excited, and all the more excited after tonight's stinker to hopefully wash this disgusting taste out of our mouth.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that one's going to be a real good one. So yeah, that'll be on Wednesday. We will see you guys back here following the Bucks game. Like I said, Chuddy's Corner. We're doing recaps after every game. So there's not many other people out here doing that. So if you're in here for the recaps, we'll be here. We're gonna keep it going. Some of those West Coast road trips are gonna get real fun for us. So yeah, we'll see you guys all again on Wednesday. Again, we'll go on Twitter, follow the page at Chuddy's Corner, follow Chuddy at King Chuddy, follow me at Doug_Outs, and also make sure if you're looking for any real estate purchases, sales, anything like that, you go to nickperino.com. And yeah, Celtics absolutely fucking suck tonight. They lose in overtime to the lowly Charlotte Hornets, 121-118, despite a big night from Jason Tatum. LaMelo Ball's bigger night. Does that make sense? LaMelo Ball's bigger night, and I don't know. I'm still so distraught. But LaMelo Ball's bigger night, ended up taking it. So again, Celtics lose 121-118. We'll see you all Wednesday for the Bucks. Hopefully, talking about a big Celtics win. Chuddy, you have a good night. Everyone at home, have a good night. Like, follow, subscribe. Go to all of our different pages. Make sure you're liking. Make sure you're subscribing. Leave a review. All that stuff helps the audience grow. So we appreciate everyone who's been following along. See you Wednesday, Chuddy. Good night.
Peace out, Chuddy Ads.